It was a warm Sunday evening in Douala, the kind of evening when even the street dogs lay too tired to bark. The ceiling fan in the Beckham apartment turned lazily, stirring the heavy air. Paul was seated on the worn sofa, eyes half on the television, half on his phone. His wife, Lydia, was counting the day's earnings from her small tailoring shop, lips moving silently as she sorted the crumpled notes. The news droned on. Politics, traffic, fuel prices. Then came the commercial break. Check your numbers now. The national promo draw, 200 million francs jackpot. Could you be our next millionaire? Paul chuckled. Imagine that, eh? Lydia smiled without looking up. You win lottery. You don't even buy the tickets. I did, he said. Remember the airtime promo? The one from MTN? I sent my number. They said they will call the winners this week. Lydia laughed softly. Paul, please. You believe too much in luck. The only luck we have is the one we sue ourselves. But later, when she finished counting and stretched beside him, the thought lingered. 200 million francs? The next morning, Paul's phone beeped with a message. Congratulations, your number has been shortlisted in our 200 million francs draw. Final results will be announced by phone call tonight at 9 p.m. He froze, blinking, then shouted, Lydia, come see. She came running, wiping flour from her hands. What is it? He showed her the message. For a moment, neither spoke. Then she smiled uncertainly. You think it's real? I don't know. But look, the number is official. All day the thought burst in their heads. Lydia forgot to finish one customer's dress. Paul barely paid attention at work. By evening, the house was spotless, as if a rich visitor were coming. Lydia cooked better rice than usual, added pepper soup, opened the curtains wide. Even if it's fake, she said, it feels good to dream small. Paul nodded, but in his eyes already, a small fire had begun to burn. At 8:30, they sat together by the phone. Lydia had changed into her best wrapper. Paul wore a shirt he usually saved for Sundays. The clock ticked loud. What if it's real? Lydia whispered. What would we do? Paul leaned back, smiling faintly. I'll quit that nonsense office job first. She laughed. And I'll open real fashion shop, not this small roadside place. I'll have apprentices, maybe even a store in Bonapriso. Paul nodded. And we'll move out of this cramped apartment. Buy a car, travel to Ghana or South Africa, maybe build the house for my mother. They talked faster, the dreams multiplying like rain droplets. Lydia's eyes gleamed. We could help your brother too, and the church. Maybe, Paul said, his voice suddenly cooler. Though my family comes first. Something flickered between them, a small, sharp spark. She looked at him oddly. The clock struck 9. The phone stayed silent. They waited 5 minutes, 10, 15, still nothing. Paul refreshed the message, reread it. Maybe they are calling alphabetically, he said. Lydia tried to smile. Maybe. He got up, restless. If we win, you know what? I'll finally start that logistics company. Real business. You won't have to work anymore. Lydia frowned. And do what? Sit at home like a doll? He shrugged. Why not? That's what rich women do. Her lips tightened. So that's how you see me, just a house ornament. He waved a hand. Lydia, please, don't start. But something had started. Something unspoken, but sharp. They looked at each other across the room, and for the first time in years, neither recognized the other. The longer the phone stayed silent, the deeper the silence between them grew. Paul went to the window. Outside, the night hummed with generators and faint music. He imagined the life that could have been: a mansion, a gleaming car, Lydia smiling beside him in silk. But another picture appeared. Lydia arguing over fabric with customers, her loud laugh, her untidy shop. Would she fit that new life? He wondered. Meanwhile, Lydia sat on the sofa watching him. She saw his frown, his distant stare, and suddenly felt cold. So this is how easily people change, she thought. We haven't even won, and already he's a stranger. A bitterness rose in her chest. She imagined him rich, surrounded by young women, telling her to stay home and pray. For the first time, she almost wished the call wouldn't come. At exactly 9:47 p.m., the phone rang. They both jumped. Paul grabbed it. The number was unknown. His heart pounded. Hello? A bright female voice. Good evening, sir. Is this Mr. Paul Mbekong? Yes, yes. Congratulations, sir. You have been selected. Lydia screamed. We won. Paul waved for silence. Yes, yes, go on. For the second phase of our draw, the voice continued. To confirm your participation, please send 5,000 francs for registration to this account. Paul froze. Lydia's face fell. He hung up slowly. They stared at each other. Then Lydia laughed bitterly. You see? Scum, I told you. Paul sank into the chair. I should have known. But inside, disappointment burnt like acid. The dreams they'd built all evening collapsed, leaving behind only smoke and silence. Later that night, they sat quietly, the phone between them like a dead thing. Lydia turned off the TV. Paul, she said softly, we were happy before this message came. He didn't answer. Now look at us, fighting over money we never had. He rubbed his face, ashamed. I don't know what came over me. She smiled faintly. Grief came over both of us. They sat in the dim light, listening to the hum of the fan. Outside, a neighbor's radio played a slow love song. One of those songs that made even the tired city sound forgiving. After a while, Lydia reached for his hand. Let's sleep, she said. Tomorrow, we'll laugh about this. He nodded. Though deep down he wasn't sure he could. Something had shifted. Something subtle, invisible. Like a crack in glass that might one day split the whole pane. That night, Paul dreamed of a phone that kept ringing endlessly. Even after he picked it up, each time he said hello, the voice on the other end changed. First Lydia's, then a stranger's, then silence. When morning came, he woke before her, stared at the ceiling fan turning in slow circles, and felt a strange calm. The world hadn't changed. The light through the window was still the same, but he knew something inside him had grown. A quiet awareness of how fragile peace could be. He rose, took a deep breath, and went to make tea. When Lydia came out, still sleepy, he smiled. Good morning, millionaire, he said. She laughed, shaking her head. Good morning, dreamer. And for a brief, gentle moment, it felt like forgiveness. A week later, while sweeping the living room, Lydia noticed the phone blinking with a missed call. Unknown number. She frowned, checked the time. 9:52 p.m., the night of the draw. Curious, she opened her messages. There was another one she hadn't seen. Congratulations, Mr. Mbekong. You are among our 200 million francs winners. Please call back before midnight to confirm. She stared at it for a long while, then sighed, set the phone down and continued sweeping. When Paul came home, she said nothing. He was humming an old song, cheerful and unhurried. She watched him a moment, then smiled quietly to herself. Some things, she thought, are better left missed. The story of the winning call began as a small observation. How quickly the idea of fortune changes people, not wealth itself, but the expectation of it. In Paul and Lydia's world, money was more than comfort. It was proof of dignity, of survival. Yet a single message, not even the money itself, was enough to unmake that dignity for one evening. What is fascinating and perhaps tragic is that the call they waited for came after all, but too late or too quietly for their hearts to hear it. In that sense, the winning call is not about the lottery at all, but about the fragile arithmetic of human hope. How we add dreams to our poverty and subtract love in the process. If there is a morale, it is a soft one. The joy often hides in the ordinary, and sometimes the luckiest people are those who never pick up the phone.